What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about SoundHound, I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down what is moving it today, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoundHound is down 1.26%, 1047 the low, 1121 the high. So SoundHound, in all honesty, isn't doing all that bad, especially considering its previous history of being extremely volatile. Like today is rather timid, and I think that's because of what SoundHound itself put out, and so I'm going to go over that in a second. But one thing that's really prompting a lot of fear today is inflation. So FOMC minutes that came out after hour, or roughly in the afternoon yesterday, there was a lot of concerns stated in there, and largely linked to tariffs and how that is going to really trickle down to consumers, and thus just really affecting the buying power, and even just generally the actual tariffs will increase inflation. So you have that, and then conveniently early this morning you have Walmart unveiling their earnings, and they said the exact same concern, that the tariffs are going to considerably hurt the future of Walmart, and just its expenses is not a good scenario. Of course, Walmart through them will also be able to kind of just raise their prices, but still not good for consumers whatsoever. So that's kind of what's affecting the broader market. SoundHound as well is doing rather well considering Palantir's getting hit. So yesterday it went down 10%. Today I think it had a low of like 96 or whatever else. But typically SoundHound and Palantir have somewhat moved in line, both being obviously tech and AI stocks. So I think, like I said, SoundHound's doing pretty a-okay. No official news from SoundHound though. So the last news did come out on February the 12th, but what they just posted on social media, I think a lot of people can resonate with this, and what is actually why people invest in SoundHound. So it says right here, labor shortages and rising wages, what's next for restaurants in 2025? So they're acknowledging the fact that things could get potentially worse, but this is why you are investing in SoundHound, because even in the last fireside chat that they did participate in, they said that companies, once they learn that we are going to increase efficiency, and not only that though, we're actually able to upsell at a more efficient rate than obviously just humans, then more and more entities will start to kind of use SoundHound. So I really like this actual post that they did, because like I said, it kind of puts it in perspective, like what the economy is currently going through and how SoundHound could really help companies through those difficult times. So this is one thing I personally really like. Quickly going over to shorts, they're definitely piggybacking off of the negativity. So increasing 678,000 shares, 30.05% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 98.91 million shares. Again, SoundHound's doing pretty good considering shorts are also increasing. So that's definitely something to take note of. Aside from all of that though, 5.95 million in calls, 6.3 in puts. 52% of all the options being done are neutral in nature, and that's largely because of this. So kind of a multi-leg transaction. Just between 11 and 11:05, there was 5.3 million in option premiums. So today definitely blows the water, is at least getting the attention from big money, clearly. Aside from that though, looking right over here, sorry about this. Okay, so I'll refresh that. Okay, so ultimately it looks like for the call options, there's a consensus for it to be roughly around that 12.50 to 13. So optimism definitely has dropped over the last week, and I think rightfully so in some cases. But as far as the bears, they're anticipating for it to be sub $10. And given where it's at right now, there is still a little bit more upside anticipated. These are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So a string of buying that ultimately took it to that $11 range, and then the string of selling that kind of hit it a little bit more. Some of that could be linked to shorting, but then again, dark pool, very popular exchange for SoundHound, and obviously a lot of shorts like to use that exchange. So let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below. Aside from that, with at 10.99, it is trading between this S1 and this S2. So ever since NVIDIA, that news kind of dropped, it's been kind of trading within this range. So $12.48 is going to be that next strong target / resistance, and then 10.02 is going to be the next strong support. So just take kind of notice of those going forward into the next couple of trading days. Aside from that, though, on the actual chart, well below the 50-day moving average, and as well with $11, it is fighting to get above the ALMA. So that's going to be a key point to really watch for it to close above today. So $11.21. Aside from that, stochastic RSI very oversold. So what that means is if there's a good piece of news linked to SoundHound or just the broader market, then you could see a certain level of buying. But I think right now there's a lot of key resistance levels right above SoundHound. So most likely, going back over here, it probably will trade within this range, most likely up until early next week. That's where it potentially will be able to retest this S1. But yeah, I think given all the circumstances that's been happening in the broader market, like SoundHound is a pretty good deal right now. But then again, what do I know, right? You guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But yeah, I think all in all, there's a lot of good data points signaling a little bit more upside. But at the same time, you also do see shorts fairly active. So they definitely want to try to suppress SoundHound. So let me know your thoughts on SoundHound. Give yourself a shout out if you have been buying, if you have been selling, have you been dabbling with options? What's your general thoughts? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And then one final thing, if you're looking for some kick-ass buy signals, pop over to my Patreon. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. So with all that said, appreciate all of you watching.